Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Good.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brandsource Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the first day of October 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember that the life you save may be your own. If you're celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated a birthday over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. For those of you who are ill, whether at home or at a medical facility, we wish you a speedy recovery, as well as for those of you who are in isolation or in quarantine. We hope that you will be released from those situations as soon as it is safe. And I understand from those persons who have been in quarantine or in isolation that it is a very, very difficult experience to go through. So that in itself should tell you how important it is to ensure that you follow all of the protocols. And even with following all of the protocols, it is still possible for you to end up being infected with COVID-19 as well. But what we have seen happening in the Cayman Islands, what we have seen happening in sister jurisdictions like Bermuda, this week alone, 20 deaths this week. It's got to be alarming. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Ort Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. The voice of Mr. Paul Akal, waiting to take your calls this morning. You can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. First of all, I'm going to share with you the COVID-19 update for yesterday, the 30th of September. We had one at 3 p.m., but the 3 p.m. basically said that there were no changes from the update that was issued at 8 a.m. yesterday. So I'm going to give you the one for 8 a.m. So on Thursday, the 30th of September at 8 a.m., Chief Nursing Officer Dr. Hazel Brown reported that 1,006 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported the day before that, on the 29th of September. There were 5 positive test results in total, 2 positives from travelers on exit from quarantine. 3 are related to the schools. Prospect Primary has 1 additional child from the same year 6 group as those initially screened. Georgetown Primary has 1 parent of a previous case and 1 additional child from year 6 class who tested positive at exit from quarantine as well. So those are the COVID-19 reports, the most recent ones. If we receive one before the show's over, we'll certainly share them with you as well. This morning, we were supposed to have some members of the opposition in the studio with us, but there had to be a change to that. So, as usual, I was able to quickly grab Dr. Steve McFeel and have him in the studio with us this morning. So, Doc, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. And I know that you have something that you want to share with our audience about Barbados. You and I have been talking about it off air for quite a while when the Prime Minister of Barbados earlier this year, or even before that, indicated that Barbados would be going to the Republican style of government, and she is following through and carrying out her promise. So, Doc, morning, welcome. Thanks for coming on such short notice.
Thank you. Good morning to you, Mr. For the Record, and good morning to all your fans and your listeners in For the Record land, and all those in the Cayman diaspora, and all those other people listening around the world to you on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yes, it has happened. And by the way, I was privileged to be in Barbados at the University of the West Indies, in which I emerged from there with an honors degree. I don't know Mrs. Motley. I don't know Prime Minister Mia Motley personally. I know her father. I had the opportunity to appear before him in the Court of Appeal. He was a member, he was a part of the bench of the Cayman Islands Court of Appeal until he retired.
Okay, yeah.
Barbados is a beautiful place. I visit there several times. I have been there on several occasions while I was president of the Bar Association. So meetings, like some of those meetings were put on by the Caribbean Basin Initiative and so forth. So yes, the great lady of the Caribbean, the woman who puts all other great leaders to task. And it seems to me that if she sees further than many other of the Caribbean leaders, is because she stands on the shoulders of great leaders before her, like her own father, and like Errol Barrow and all of those other great people, Grantley Adams and all of those people. She stands on their shoulders. Yes, it has happened. The bill to bring the Republic of Barbados into force has passed in their parliament, 25 to nothing. That was the margin of the amendment. And she told legislators that she said that her administration was not rushing into republicanism and that talks regarding the transition began more than 2 decades ago. She says there can be no rush, therefore, about this act. This act has taken long in coming, and if we go back, we agreed that there are aspects that are certainly worthy of consultation, and that it is the majority of the work that relates to the Constitution. We get that, and we are committed onto that. She described as simple but functional the bill, the constitutional amendment that would revoke Barbados' Order of 1966 as an order in council of Her Majesty, while keeping complete the Barbados Constitution. The amendment makes provision for a Barbadian to be a head of state, change the oath of allegiance from that to Her Majesty to now the state of Barbados, and to ensure continuity in all of the other aspects of the functioning of the state of Barbados through of offices, appointments, and commissions. She said this has been a conversation that has been taking place since December 1998. The fact that I was part of the cabinet that agreed to the establishment of this commission explains why I have so much gray hair now, because it has been a long journey. It has been a long journey. She said, indeed, one of my greatest regrets is that while there are a few who are still with us, the majority of persons who served on this commission, and in fact the Cox Commission before, have gone to the great beyond. The government said that the change would bring to an end a British head of state of Barbados, and ever since settlers landed here in 1625 and claimed the island for King James I, and Prime Minister Motley maintained that the time has come for the transition, as Barbados needed to be at complete control of all of its affairs. She dismissed any notion that Barbados would change its name. She says, what it does is allow us to close the circle with respect to independence and move to another state of our development, thereby allowing Barbadians to say to the world that we have the confidence in ourselves to be completely responsible for who we are and what we do and what we say, and all that surrounds itself with the nation of Barbados. She says this bill does nothing else but seek to maintain a Bajan, the head of state, to make a Bajan a head of state of Barbados, and it's as simple as that, because that is the lacuna that will take us from one point to another. By also revoking the order in council, we make clear statement that we want to be in control of our affairs as a republic. She says, without that, we will continue to always have doubts in the minds of our people as to whether we are truly independent and to whether we are truly in charge of our own destiny. Because if we have to send to Buckingham Palace in order to confer honors, or we have to send to the palace in order to appoint an ambassador to a non-Commonwealth country, then we do not and cannot say that all powers resides and locates within the nation state of Barbados, and it is as simple as that. She told legislators that together with Atherley, they will make a joint nomination for the election of a president of Barbados.
Name Sandra Mason.
Yes, Sandra Mason. Yes. And a date will then be set for that election, and that she expects the process to take place this month. Barbadians will also be notified as to when the new head of state would be sworn in. But in this contribution, Atherley raised concerns over the legality of the government intended move to Republican status, despite declaring full support for the move. So that's the position Barbados is going into, to be a republic. They have complete the circle of independence, yep. And they will be after this month and completely in charge of their destiny and the kind of who they are.
And Bajans should be extremely proud
to have a woman like Mrs. Motley.
Exactly. Got to take a commercial break now, Doc. When we come back, we'll have you complete that. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Charles Ebanks Glidden, 1890-1958. Pastor Charles Ebanks Glidden was a minister of the gospel, pastor of the Church of God Full Gospel Hall in West Bay, a sea captain, a magistrate, and a merchant. He and his wife, Etlyn Nee Hines, were caretakers on Swan Island for some years. They had 6 children, one of whom died shortly after birth. A resident of Georgetown, who found himself in trouble with the law, tells his story. On the day of his trial, he went before the court, Charles E. Glidden presiding. The evidence was presented and the defendant was found guilty as charged. The penalty was a fine or time in prison. The defendant was unable to pay the fine, so the presiding officer, Mr. Glidden, took him outside the courtroom and gave him the amount of money required, and he paid the fine and was released.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm. Your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamped Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brandsource Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brandsource Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve McField, in the absence of the opposition. So, Doc, who would have thought that Barbados would have moved to becoming a republic? The island that was always referred to as Little England.
Yes,
Little England,
yes.
huh?
Well, you know, they let me just say that they boast a lot of historical first, Barbados. It was the first country in the Western Hemisphere that had a college. The first place that a college was established in the Western Hemisphere was called Codrington College. The remains are still there today. If you go to Barbados, you can go to the old Codrington College grounds. Are still there. Barbados was also the first place in the Caribbean to have 99% literacy. About Jamaica, about Trinidad, about all those places. And it's that kind of history that the Motley family came from. Sir Elliot Motley, Prime Minister Motley's father, was a court appeal judge in Cayman from 2005 to 2015 when he retired from the court appeal. But he still remained a member of the court appeal of Turks and Caicos Island. And he didn't retire from that position until January this year. And of course, she has a brother Warren Watley, that died earlier this year too. Yes. I think it was. So this great woman, this great leader in the Caribbean, who puts a lot of other leaders to shame, is somebody that I admire. I haven't met her. I had the privilege, and David Rich and I had the privilege when we were students at Cave Hill to meet the great Errol Barrow and one of his ministers, Morris Ward. Errol Barrow had a townhouse or something down at the famous Paradise Beach. Okay. And we would be able to go down there on the weekends. And of course, he was the kind of prime minister that every month he had a party at his house. Wow. At his grounds. Every month he had a party at his grounds. But that was to raise money for his party. And what he would do, he would send an invitation to all of the hotels through the Barbados Tourist Board that they should select a couple from out of the guests to come to his party. And so there was not, it was very funny that when you went down to Paradise Beach and they discovered that we were residing there, and you would hear the couple say, "Well, you know, I hope they select me to go to the party." And it was there that he cemented the whole tourist trade and worked along with the tourist department, the Barbados Tourist Department, to integrate the tourists into the native life, into the native lifestyle. That's what he did. that would be something that if there was not COVID and if travel was not restricted, that I would definitely go to see the flag come down and to see the Barbadian flag, the Republic flag go up.
Yes.
That would be something that I would be in my lifetime to see that happen. And I didn't see that in Trinidad when Eric Williams did that. But I've studied Eric Williams' life, and I know all his works, and I was proud of what they did. Of course, people like me who has been really denigrated for denigrated for
the stance that you take in terms of nationalism. Yes. You know, and what I didn't know that you shared, from that article also was the fact that these Commonwealth countries, that when they're appointing ambassadors to foreign countries that are not Commonwealth countries, that they have to seek permission from
Her Majesty the Queen. Wow. They have to go to Buckingham Palace to seek for permission to do that.
It still baffles me why people would want to continue to preserve the relics of colonialism, a system that denigrated people, a system that subjugated people, but we still have those who still want, for whatever reason, to remain a part of it. It's almost like the Stockholm syndrome. You know, you start to identify with your oppressor.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I had a not a meeting. I had a discussion with one of my great friends the other day, and I had to remind someone who was there, was listening, and I says, I am not worshiping at the altar of perpetual colonial superiority. Mm-hmm. That is not going to happen to McField. Mm-hmm. That has not going to happen to me. And I see no political advantage in pandering to people who have blocked all efforts at increasing the growth of myself and my family and other Caymanians and other people. That is not going to happen to me. I don't care. As long as I live, that is never going to happen to me. I have always been, from a boy, I had an independent spirit, and I carry that along with me. And I don't worship Prime Minister Motley, but I admire her. I admire her, and I wish that I could get to know her.
Okay, for those of you who are not staunch nationalists, we're going to talk about some other things later on. We're going to go back to this topic of vaccine mandates and share some more information with you as well, and encourage you to read up on it yourselves and see what all of the other alternatives are. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman Time Check is now 8 a.m. This time check is brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman-Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We are here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of December 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the
voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. An early morning home invasion in Northside is under investigation. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
Police say just after 3 a.m. Thursday, they were called out to investigate a report of an aggravated burglary and assault on Frank Sound Road. According to the report, the occupants of the home woke up to find an unknown man inside. There was a struggle, injuring a male occupant of the home. The culprit took off. Police say the injured occupant was taken to the hospital in a private vehicle for treatment and remains in stable condition with non-life-threatening injuries. The matter is currently under investigation, and if you have any information, contact Bodentown CID. The number there is 947-2220. You can also make an anonymous tip directly to police on their confidential tip line at 949-7777 or on the website at rcips.ky. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
A major test of Island's first responders.
Very proud of all the services that were involved and everyone that came out, most especially our volunteers who sacrificed their day and gave of their time. Without them, this would not be possible.
Andrew McLaughlin is the Chief Management Officer of the Cayman Islands Airports Authority. Thursday's full-scale exercise at Owen Roberts International Airport included a wide range of participants and volunteers, as well as the country's first responders.
All the emergency services were on board, from emergency medical services to the Royal Cayman Islands Police to the Cayman Islands Fire Service, the Cayman Islands Regiment, and Hazard Management Cayman Islands, along with Airport Authority management team.
The CIAA also enlisted the assistance of Travel Cayman to ensure the emergency responders uses COVID-19 precautions and best practices. The emergency exercise is a regulatory requirement, but also provides an opportunity for local entities to assess strengths and weaknesses and make improvements. And this weekend, drivers can expect some road closures. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has more.
From 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday, October 3rd, Water Authority Cayman has planned works scheduled on the section of Shamrock Road between Hurst Road and the east entrance to Homestead Crescent will be closed in order to facilitate the installation of new water supply infrastructure in the area. At the intersection of Shamrock Road and Hurst Road, eastbound traffic will be diverted to Pedro Castle Road and Homestead Crescent. At the intersection of Shamrock Road and Homestead Crescent, westbound traffic will be diverted along Homestead Crescent. During this time, local access only to businesses and residences in the area will be available, and flagmen will be on hand to direct local access traffic. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity, and all motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety, as well as that of the Water Authority staff. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. Investigators in Paris say they have DNA evidence that a retired French police officer who killed himself earlier this week was a notorious serial killer. François Verov is reported to have left a suicide note confessing to crimes going back decades. The Australian government has announced major changes to its harsh COVID travel restrictions. Its international borders will reopen in November for the first time in 18 months for fully vaccinated Australians. A fire at a hospital in Constanța on Romania's Black Sea coast has killed 9 people. It broke out in an intensive care unit treating COVID-19 patients. The United Nations says it's critically important that the humanitarian operation continues in northern Ethiopia, despite the expulsion of 7 of its senior staff in a dispute with the government. The UN warns that Tigray is seeing alarming levels of malnutrition after 11 months of war. Twitter says it hopes its services will be restored very soon in Nigeria, where it's been banned since June. President Muhammadu Buhari has announced the conditional lifting of the ban. Hundreds of Iraqis gathered in the centre of Baghdad to mark the second anniversary of the start of anti-government demonstrations. They denounced political corruption. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan's performance. For the year ended 30th of April, 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been, 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
With Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the Health of It is heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. It is brought to you by Holy Cross Health. Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Our mission is you. Call 1-954-351-5906. Email global services at holy-cross.com or visit Holy Cross Health at holy-cross.com.
We all risk getting COVID-19 and spreading it to others, maybe without even realizing that we are sick. So, if you plan on visiting or going out with friends or family, remember these tips to keep you and your loved ones safe. Wash your hands regularly. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Maintain a safe social distance from other people. Avoid handshakes, hugs, and kisses with people that you don't live with. Contact the flu hotline if you have a cold or flu-like symptoms. Let's keep working together to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with a complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefits solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning, Cayman. Let's take a look at your latest weather. Compliments of our good friends at Pan American Life Insurance. Present temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Conditions are partly sunny, but it feels like about 88. Winds are out of the north at 16 miles per hour. Relative humidity 88%. Last night's low dew point was at 77. Barometric pressure is at 29.91 inches and dropping. Isolated thunderstorms along with moderate easterly winds and slight seas will continue across the Cayman area as an upper level trough lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman Islands drifting towards the southwest. And the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida is issuing advisories on Hurricane Sam and Tropical Storm Victor. Of course, these systems pose no threat to the Cayman Islands. Our forecast for today, partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. And later tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with a 60% chance of showers and possible thunder. Showers may become locally heavy at times. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be smooth to slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. We're on a high tide. Low tide will be at 12:15 p.m. high again at 6:51 this evening. For tomorrow, low tide is at 1:07 a.m., high at 6:44 a.m., low at 12:55 p.m., and high at 7:15 p.m. Your sunset this Friday evening is at 6:12, sunrise for Saturday morning at 6:17. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through Sunday evening. That's your latest weather for today, Friday into Saturday.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221 Cannon Place East, North Song Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, have a deadline. Procrastination is common in human nature. Setting a time to review the work helps to increase motivation because you know that you have to have it done by a certain time. This also ensures that you slow down to review progress. Consider rewards if things are going well. If things are not going as well as you would like, a deadline gives you a chance to pause and reflect on the current goal to see if there may be something getting in the way of being able to get it done.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
All right, good morning, my friends. Let's take a look at your traffic situation right now. Looking down at the East-West Crichton Boulevard, the major influx of traffic coming out from the eastern areas have subsided. But looking down at King Sports Center, the traffic has piled up in that area, especially along the Linford-Pearson Highway. And if you're continuing on Crew Road, yes, slow-paced traffic there as well. Those of you coming off Shamrock Road. For those going through South Sound, yes, expect that usual slow traffic there as well. And turning up Walker's Road, some movements midway, getting close to John Gray High School, expect some traffic there. Continuing through South Church Street, expect some traffic as you make your way into Seafarers Way, and turning on to Cardinal, have some free movement of traffic there as well. Shutter Road looking busy at the moment. Also looking coming back to the Crew Road area, got some slow-paced traffic as you turn just west of the runway, heading on to Shenton Road. Got some slow-paced traffic there as well. Alder Avenue also looking busy at the moment. And of course, the roundabout just outside A.L. Thompson Butterfield roundabout, always busy right now with the influx of traffic. Wesley Tibbetts, got some traffic coming out of West Bay. That's slow-paced as well. We're heading towards the airport. Moving on to Dorsey Drive and turning on. Got some free movement if you're heading towards the airport. But of course, the major influx of traffic still coming out of the eastern area, but soon dissipate as the morning progresses. Your traffic reports brought to you by our good friends at Subway. Look out for those on foot, bicycle, and motorbikes.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now, ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm, your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
Radio Cayman News.
A collision on Fridays leads to one fatality.
Academy Sports Club says his death has, quote, shaken the entire football community.
In the attack, one man took a bullet to the leg, and police say a second man was injured.
We do need to be able to live and move forward with COVID in the community.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve Macfield. We're going to start discussing the controversial and sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, very divisive subject of vaccines and vaccine mandates. Before I do that, I just want to share with you one of our listeners' comments in relation to our discussion about Barbados. And writer says, good morning. That is some very interesting facts about Barbados' history. It's amazing how people forget that Barbados is independent and has done well. They always seem to give examples of countries or ones that aren't doing that well. And, you know, those are the persons who basically want to discourage persons for taking control of their own destiny. And the argument behind that is, look at what all of the others have done and how their people are suffering and,
yes.
you know, and everything else.
But they never say this about Canada and Australia and
yes,
New Zealand.
Yes, all of those that have been
successful.
And all
of those who are successful. Uh-huh. They haven't said that about those people.
So true, so true.
So let us look at what a gentleman had said about disclosing information about your vaccination to your employer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? This gentleman is named Corey Martinson, and he's a paralegal, and he's employed at HSM, a legal firm. Mr. Matheson is writing about the problems about between employers and employees. And he says some employers have been asking staff to disclose whether or not they have taken the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, Mr. Corey explores if employers are legally able to record this data and areas that should be considered. So this is his article, not mine. And he poses the question. He says, does the Data Protection Act 2021 revision, brackets DPA, the Data Protection Act, does it apply if I want to record this vaccination status of my employees? And he answers, absolutely, the data protection applies. Any information about your employees is personal data under the DPA, that's the Data Protection Act. Vaccination information is medical data, which falls under the definition of sensitive personal data in the DPA, which means an employer must meet stricter legal requirements before processing. Processing is broadly defined as recording, holding, obtaining, or carrying out any operations on the personal data. And then he poses the second question. What is meant by stricter legal requirements when it comes to processing sensitive personal data? And then he gives the answer. Under the DPA, to legally process sensitive personal data, the data controller, i.e., the employer, must identify a legal basis for processing from both Schedule 2 and Schedule 3 of the DPA. Additionally, the more sensitive the personal data, the more security is required to ensure against unlawful processing. Security measures can include policies, access, controls, technical, and physical measures.
Okay.
And then he goes on to ask...
I'm going to ask you to hold off on that, that next question. We're going to come back to that. We're going to grab a caller in the meantime. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'd just like to comment on your opening thought about Barbados.
Yeah, we want to hear from some Bajans.
Yeah, well, I'm not a Bajan, but to comment on the Prime Minister of Barbados, when you think of her, you think of all the great leaders in terms of speech, the Obama, the Clinton, the Charles, the Thatcher, and I would suggest that she's right up there with them.
An able orator, yes.
She has linguistic eloquence. I mean, she is superb as a spokesperson. She's one of the leaders that I follow. Every time she make any public appearance, I get an alert on my phone, and I'm able to follow her.
Oh.
And I would like to suggest to the listeners to take a listen to the restaurant controversy that she handled in Barbados. She is superb a leader. And Barbados, and because I want to tap into it, the Caribbean, I dare say, must be proud of having a leader like herself.
Yep, and a female leader at that. She put the men to shame.
Yes.
You know.
I agree.
Caller, did you listen to her message at the UN?
Yes, I did.
And she threw away her script.
Exactly.
And spoke.
Exactly. Yes, and it was a speech out of the ballpark.
Yes.
She is just superb. The Caribbean should be proud of her, and every Bajan should be proud of her, whether they support her or not. I mean, she is just superb. And these are the kind of leaders we want to see emerging throughout the Caribbean, because it only means that with those kind of capabilities, we can only go from strength to strength.
Yes, and she has her country, the interests of her country at heart. She no hidden agenda whatsoever, and she comes across as genuine and committed.
Genuine.
Yes.
Genuine.
And caller, do you know a man called H.L.R. Gorin?
No, I don't. I don't know that person.
Well, he was a great Barbadian educator that was brought here to teach the elite of Cayman's children. He came here in the around the turn of the 19th century.
Spoke 5 languages.
Spoke 5 languages, and taught most of the wealthy families' children. That's what he was brought here for, and he became a member of the Vestry, the Legislative Assembly, and we had a man called Commissioner Cardinal at the time. So he was the commissioner of the Cayman Islands, and at one of the meetings of the Vestry, Mr. Goring started to quote from Shakespeare, and of course, no one in the Vestry or the commission didn't understand the Shakespeare, had not read Shakespeare, and so they had to adjourn the vestry for that day so the commissioner could go home and get a book to read and familiar himself with what Goring was saying. And when Goring died in 1937, Commissioner Cardinal said that Goring was one of the most educated men that he had ever met in his life. And he that's what Goring Avenue in Georgetown is named after him.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Good bit of history.
That's
right. Just for a little bit of humor, you said in the opening remarks, Mr. McField, that Mayor Motley said that that's why she got gray hair working the country up to the republic status. So
that's right.
That she might have gray hair, but you don't have no hair at all.
No. Yes.
And the attempt are both similar in nature.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Paul, we'll take the commercial break now. When we return, Dr. McField will share this article written by a paralegal at HSM in relation to data protection. What is the title again, Doc? What's the title of it?
Data Protection Act.
The Data Protection Act.
Yes.
Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Had a look at those investment options yet?
Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed.
That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record in the studio with me, Dr. Steve McField. Any callers on hold, Paul? No callers? Okay, Doc, let's go back to that article written by HS.
Yeah, we're going back to the article now by Mr. Markinson. And the next question that he poses is, he says, what are the appropriate legal basis for processing sensitive personal data under Schedule 2 and 3 in the context? And he gives the answer. He says, the appropriate legal basis for processing will vary depending on the specific employer, the employee's position within the organization, and any legal framework to which the employer must adhere. For example, there will be a stronger legal basis for knowing the vaccination status of an ICU nurse than a dump truck driver. Legal frameworks will be employed sector-specific, but the Labor Act 2021 revision has a general requirement under Section 58 that every employer shall ensure so far as reasonable practical the health, safety, and welfare at work of that person's employees. This may provide a legal basis for processing. However, an argument exists that the interpretation of the words necessary and reasonable practical are open to distinction. And then he goes on to press the next question. He said, is the collection of vaccination data a reasonable practical measure? And if so, is the collection of the vaccination data then necessary as required by the DPA? And then he goes to answer. He says, the answer to this question will vary from employer to employer, as well as between occupations. However, before asking this question, the organization should first consider less privacy intrusive means of achieving the same goal. For example, can the risk to employees be sufficiently reduced through mandatory mask requirements, social distancing, and hand hygiene? Can employees work from home or alternative between home and the workplace, so not all employees are in the workplace at once? Is a blanket policy necessary, or is it a more strategic approach just as effective but less privacy intrusive? There is no one-size-fits-all solution. If in doubt, you should seek legal advice. And then he poses the next question. He says, what are the possible repercussions to my organization if I collect vaccination data in contravention of the DPA? And then he answers, if the ombudsman receives a complaint or initiates their own investigation and finds that the business is not in compliance with the DPA, they can issue an enforcement order, which may require the cessation of processing and that the data be destroyed. Non-compliance with an enforcement order is an offense, and the business and our directors could face a fine of up to 100,000 Cayman dollars or imprisonment for up to 5 years, or both, as a result of court proceedings. Enforcement orders are routinely published on the Ombudsman website, so this type of enforcement action also has a high likelihood of becoming public knowledge. Additionally, there has been a serious contravention of the DPA, and the contravention was of a kind likely to cause substantial damage or substantial distress. The Ombudsman may levy a monetary penalty of up to 250,000 Cayman dollars. And under Section 13 of the DPA, an individual who has suffered damage as a result of a contravention of the law also has a cause of action for compensation against the organization. It would be noted that courts in the European Union have now recognized that damages include mental distress. And then he makes a conclusion, and he says, vaccination status and data protection laws worldwide are rapidly evolving areas of jurisprudence. Some governments are taking legislative measures to mandate vaccinations in an attempt to provide a degree of certainty, and it is only in the event of a judicial challenge will more comprehensive legal guidance be available. And then it says, as we navigate through the COVID-19 era, HSM strongly encourages people to reach out to their legal advisors to assess whether or not they're within their legal rights.
Okay.
And that was that was the article that we by Mr. Corey Martin's son.
Okay, Doc, I want to thank you very much for that. And mention was made there about the guidance that was issued by the Office of the Ombudsman. And so I'm going to share with our audience now the data protection guidance note that was issued. Vaccination and COVID status checks for fitness establishments, because we have heard here on For the Record about gyms and complaints, whether or not they may have actually complied with the regulations or not, or persons who felt offended because they were requested to produce evidence of vaccination, and whether or not that was correctly applied by that establishment. So it says the latest COVID-19 regulations require owners and operators of gyms, fitness centers, and other indoor fitness areas called fitness establishments to check vaccination certificates or PCR test results of any person other than an employee entering their premises. This guidance aims to help owners and operators to understand their obligations in relation to the Data Protection Act when carrying out these checks. A person's vaccination status or PCR test results is medical data and is therefore considered to be sensitive personal data under the Data Protection Act. Sensitive personal data is subject to stringent requirements under the Data Protection Act. Under the heading Fair and Lawful Processing, the Data Protection Act requires that the processing of personal data must be carried out in a fair and transparent manner. In order for the processing to be considered fair and transparent, individuals must be told who is collecting the data, that is the data controller, and the purpose for collecting it. This information must be given to them promptly, usually by way of a written privacy notice. And I'm going to just pause there for a second. It would appear to me as if all of these fitness establishments and stuff like that should have something in writing to give to the persons who are entering there, or the persons from whom they're collecting data, to say this is the policy, here is what. By word of mouth may not be sufficient, because at some point in time, I believe that this is going to become litigious.
I think at some point in time there's going to be a judicial challenge to this.
Yes, yeah. Then under legal basis, says you must always have a legal basis to allow you to process personal data. And we should refer to Schedule 2 of the Data Protection Act, which spoke about in that other article as well. In the case of vaccination status or PCR test results, the legal basis is likely to be found in paragraph 3 of Schedule 2, processing under legal obligation. Sensitive personal data. A person's vaccination status or PCR test results is medical information and considered to be sensitive personal data under the Data Protection Act. So you must also meet conditions in Schedule 3 of the DPA to be able to justify collecting this information. And it tells you that paragraph 7, subsection B permits the collection of this sensitive personal data on the basis that it is necessary for the exercise of any function, for example, conduct checks of vaccination certificates or PCR test results under an enactment, for example, under the COVID-19 COVID regulations. Under the heading Establish a Process for Checking Vaccination Status and PCR Test Results, fitness facilities should create a written policy outlining how they will check vaccination status and PCR test results, and a privacy notice explaining who is collecting the data and why it is being collected. The COVID regulations do not explicitly require owners and operators of fitness establishments to retain a record of the checks they have made. You must decide if you feel that it is necessary to retain such records to prove compliance. A relevant question to ask is whether you could establish compliance in other ways. If you decide to only conduct a visual examination of the certificate or test results, then the Data Protection Act would not likely apply because there would be no physical record of the data. I'm going to repeat that one because I think that is important.
Yes.
If, and I'm going to put in the words here, if a fitness center, fitness establishment decides to only conduct a visual examination of the certificate or test results, then the Data Protection Act would not likely apply because there would be no physical record of the data. And I like they use the phrase there, not likely. So
Not likely.
there's not certainty
They're not
even
certain.
in that, right?
Yes.
Goes on to say if the check is done electronically, for example, by electronically scanning the QR code displayed on the HSA Health application, it would fall under the Data Protection Act, even if you do not keep a record of it. However, if you do not retain a record, you would only be required to explain why you are processing their data and what it will be used for. Goes on to say, if you decide to retain the vaccination certificates or PCR test results, you must do so in compliance with the 8 data protection principles, and you can find those principles online as well. They explain the purpose for the limitation. Personal data must only be used for compatible purposes with those for which it was collected in the first place. This means that you must be clear about the reasons for collecting this information, and you should only use it for purposes your customers and visitors would reasonably expect. So the whole issue of reasonableness has to apply as well. So the question there would be, well, I would ask them, is it reasonable if someone is just entering the establishment and you have a reception desk there, and they're not going beyond that reception desk? They're coming in there to ask you something or to collect someone who's going to come out to them and they're going to leave, whether or not it is necessary for you to require vaccination certificate or a PCR test for that, just to enter the door to go to the reception area as well. That's something. So people have to be careful how they apply this. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. If no calls when we return, we're going to talk, about some legal advice that was given to the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States by some legal luminaries as well. We're going to share that with you, and that's about vaccine mandates. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barcas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
medical lab services in Cayman. Go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean, and comfortable environment, no long lines, and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman. MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brandsource Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brandsource Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Steve MacPhail. One of our listeners has written in and said what Dr. MacPhail is reading or what he just read needs to be taken into serious consideration by gyms requesting members email or proof of vaccination. The writer goes on to say they should perform a physical check, that is, view the card and make a generic note on their account. The IT systems gyms have in place don't come close to meeting the 8 principles required required in order for them to be in compliance. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, Ombudsman's office, whether or not they have inspectors
I don't
there
know. I don't think they have
that
inspectors.
could actually go around and check these gyms to see exactly
But
what methods that they're employing and how they're going about it.
If they don't, they should.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They shouldn't wait until there's a breach or something, and they should be doing that now. It's a precaution.
I'll try to check the Ombudsman's website to see if that is if there's anything on there on it. But if there's someone from the Ombudsman's office that knows anything about this, can you tell us whether or not there are inspectors in that office to ensure compliance, especially with these regulations that are in place now, because they're extremely important. But we have already heard how some people have been annoyed, irritated, or felt that they have been discriminated against based on what they have been requested. And if you know anything about the composition of the Ombudsman office and whether or not there are inspectors there, please let us know. We would be happy. Here's an article in the Jamaica Observer, and I think, Doc, you read one on Wednesday. I just hope, I don't think I'm repeating this one, because there were so many articles that I had forwarded to you. But this one says, mandatory COVID-19 vaccines legal, says 2 Caribbean legal luminaries, right?
Yes.
It says 2 of the Caribbean's leading legal minds have opined that there is nothing to stop regional governments and private sector entities from enforcing mandatory COVID-19 vaccination. In a brief prepared for the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Heads of Government, former President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron, and Professor Rosemarie Bell Antoine, former President of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, said they are convinced that a compulsory requirement for a COVID-19 vaccine is generally justifiable in law, whether constitutionally or in the private sector. The current legal framework, including jurisprudence, be it by analogy or from the fact emerging specific cases does support it, the brief said. The two legal luminaries also opined that private sector entities are within their right to mandate that their employees be vaccinated or provide regular negative COVID-19 test results. The most important premise for compulsory vaccination in the private sector is that under the common law and via statute, both employers and employees have overriding general duties of care to maintain a safe work environment and to protect the safety and health of employees, co-workers, and in certain circumstances, the public. In fact, this duty is a specific term of the contract of employment, whether express, statute-based, or implied, added the two in the brief. But they noted that the validity of a compulsory response to vaccination depends, of course, on the assumption that vaccines are available to the public at large. So that is there. What I want to find also now is the if we can find the actual verbatim of that. But and here's another one. Dana Roberts, an alternative to compulsory vaccination at the workplace. And he writes, Paul, I may go over a little bit on this one. We have until 9 o'clock, right? Okay, yeah. It says the arguments and reasoning presented by Sir Dennis Byron and my erstwhile colleague, Professor Rosemary Antoine, in their brief to the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Heads of Government on the matter of mandatory vaccinations were, to say the least, lucid, cogent, and compelling. I would be very surprised if any legal opinion sought in Jamaica on the question would conclude otherwise than that the government in a free, liberal, democratic society has the right to impose mandatory vaccination where the matter of public health may be at risk. Mandatory vaccination, as in the case of the COVID-19 pandemic, would be viewed, I believe, by most legal experts as constitutional in principle. At the heart of democratic principles, argued academic scholar Thomas Lindsay in his 1992 essay on Aristotle's critique on the democratic presupposition, lies attention evinced most forcefully on our practical struggle to reconcile equality, derived majority rule with individual liberty. And I want to, I'm going to repeat that. The struggle to reconcile equality, derived majority rule, and individual liberty. And even if it were the case that mandatory vaccination was an expression of the will of the majority, Thomas Jefferson asserted that for the will of the majority to be rightful, it must be reasonable. While the constitutionality for compulsory COVID-19 vaccination may well be clearly articulated, it does not ipso facto meet the threshold standards until certain elements have been analyzed so as to determine the reasonableness of a mandatory vaccine policy. It is perhaps important to note that in a recent ruling by the European Court, it argued that compulsory vaccination may well occur if it mandates any negative consequences arising from the non-compliance with the duty to get vaccinated, and that such action would constitute an infringement with the right to respect of private life. In a matter, therefore, where the employer decides to mandatorily require employees to be vaccinated and there is no constitutionally justifiable measure opposing it, there is a greater likelihood that the court would find favor with the employer. More than half of the International Labour Organization conventions and recommendations deal directly or indirectly with occupational health and safety, including key conventions like numbers 155, 161, and 187. In fact, as Sir Dennis and Professor Antoine point out, the right of an employer to provide a safe working environment is implied in one's contract of employment. And
yes.
Doc, you have said that over and over as
again.
well.
Yes.
Constitutional principles notwithstanding, however, the matter of compulsory vaccination at the workplace requires deeper reflection and careful analysis. In the end, the need for thin slicing, as the psychologists would say, could help to bring greater clarity and purpose to balancing the employer's right to guarantee a safe and healthy working environment with ethical considerations that are inherent in the principles of bodily integrity when it comes to vaccinations. Bodily integrity, as defined, is the inviolability of the physical body and the importance, if not right, to personal autonomy, self-ownership, and self-determination of every human being over their own body. None of the plethora of examples, therefore, to support the right of the employer to determine who enters his premises and under what conditions stand pari passu with the principle of bodily integrity. I'm not sure if I can finish this. I can't finish this before we go to the break. So let's go to the break and we will continue after. Folks, top of the hour, headline news. When we return, the conversation will continue with Dr. Steve Macfield. So please stay tuned.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 1,062 COVID-19 tests on Thursday. 5 came back positive, 2 were travelers, and 3 were related to the cases at local schools. U.S. President Joe Biden has suffered a setback after Congress delayed a vote on a $1 trillion infrastructure plan. Part of his Democratic Party refuses to move forward with the plan until Congress signs off on a separate $3.5 trillion plan on welfare and climate change. The plan is at the heart of the party's agenda for government, and passions are high among its liberal and centrist wings. Centrists want to scale the legislation back radically. A Spanish judge has shocked women's rights groups by dismissing a case that involved women being secretly filmed while urinating in public, and the videos were then posted on porn websites. Recordings of some 80 women and girls that were made as they urinated in a side street because of a lack of facilities. They were caught by hidden cameras at a local festival. In many cases, the footage showed close-ups of the women's genitals. It was uploaded to porn sites, some requiring payment to view. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Did you know that once properly sanitized, some tinned food items may still be safe for consumption after coming in contact with floodwater? In order to properly sanitize these tins, always remove labels, and then wash tins in a strong detergent solution using a brush to get rid of excess impurities. Tins must then be immersed in a solution made of 2 tablespoons of chlorine bleach per gallon of water for 10 minutes. Ensure that containers are air dried before opening. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit the DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In studio with me, Dr. Steve McPhee. We do have a caller on hold, so I'm going to pause sharing this article with you and go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
And good morning, Dr. Steve. Bear with me, please. I have 2 comments. The first one is regarding Barbados. I was listening to your comments about Barbados, and I just wanted to add that perhaps, people tend to forget a lot about Barbados, and, for the cricket people, like myself, for small, I'm not sure what the population is there, but,
I think it's 280,000.
Oh, okay. But, even going way back, in West Indies cricket, for an island, as small as them, they have produced some of the very best West Indian cricketers. And at one stage, it was the Barbadians who held the world records until, others came along and broke them. And so I just wanted to add that bit, about Barbados as well. And the other things that you said, I was aware of that. And it's a place I've always looked at and admired, and in my opinion could be a fine example of us going forward. The other thing I wanted to say, Dr. Steve, and I guess this one is for you, I listened very carefully to you on Wednesday when you read out the section from the Constitution regarding the public health law, and when you were speaking about, the mandating of the vaccine for work permit holders or applicants and contractual workers. And I also listened to you when you read the section there from I think it's called the Bill of Rights. And I know you read it twice for the purpose of those who perhaps didn't hear or didn't understand. So after that, I have to say that I've been very, very surprised that some of the very people who were questioning that and objecting to that, they are still advocating, protesting this law or proposed law. And to me that is sad, because, if it's the law, it's the law, whether we like it or not. Some time ago a caller said to Mr. Connor that, if it's the law, it's the law, and whether we like it or not, it's what we have to adapt to. So I hope that would be the case here, and we wouldn't have anything so negative moving forward from it. And Dr. Steve, as I have you on your ear, I would like if you would make a comment on this loophole, this mandating of the vaccine regarding people being exempted from being vaccinated by virtue of the fact that it's a medical reason. Because this is my opinion, if that is the case, that would indicate that you have serious issues and you shouldn't even be eligible to a work permit here. So I'd like to hear your views on that, please. Have a great day, have a good weekend, and be safe.
Thank you very much, and same to you, caller. Doc, you want to respond?
The medical issues that would prevent you from getting a work permit is already set out into the immigration transition law. That is set out there. Communicable diseases, things like syphilis, communicable diseases, prostitution, all of those things. All of those things are set out in the law already.
And an unsatisfactory medical, where you may have some conditions that put your prospective employer in a situation where they may be financially liable.
That's right.
As well. Or the country itself.
Yes, all the country has that. You'll never get a permit. But what you're saying that, but there are some people who have some conditions that are not within the immigration transition law that would allow people to have a medical certificate to say that they are not able to take the vaccine. Like if they have a heart condition or a liver condition or kidney problems or something like that. Those are the kind of medical reasons why a person would be able to get a medical certificate saying that they shouldn't take the vaccine in those circumstances where they have a pre-existing condition, but that does not, but the condition does not go so far as to prevent them from working in the Cayman Islands. Now, as far as the right to regulate and to people who are not Caymanians in Cayman, and to ask them to mandate the vaccine, that is already laid out in the Constitution, the highest law of the land. And I don't understand why people do not understand that. What the government is doing is amending the immigration transition law to include what the Constitution say that the government can do. And I'll read it again so that people can go over it on the weekend while they're home. And I am just paraphrasing it right now. What I'm saying, it says, with respect to the entry into or exclusion from or the employment, engagement in any business or profession, movement or residence within the Cayman Islands of persons who are not Caymanians, the Bill of Rights do not protect those people, because the Constitution gives the Caymanian government the right in respect to the entry into or exclusion from or the employment or engagement in any business or profession, movement or residence within the Cayman Islands of persons who are not Caymanian. The Constitution gives the government that right. And so that right to any condition that the government puts in that's reasonable and does not object so in a reasonable justification and reasonable proportionate in the aims of the interests of public health. And when you go to Section 19, as long as the government satisfies Section 19, and Section 19 says, all decisions and acts of public officials must be lawful, rational, proportionate, and procedurally fair. And it says every person whose interests have been adversely affected by such a decision or act has the right to request and be given written reasons for that decision or act. So, if the government says, for instance, that, oh, you can't come in here because you got gridlocks or something, that would not be procedural fair. That would not cut it. And a judicial review, I'm sure, could successfully challenge that decision. But what is procedural fair? Like asking people to come who are coming in to work in the Cayman Islands to be to have the COVID vaccination. That would be procedural fair, and the government has the right to mandate that happens. And anyone who does not believe that and who does not respect that does not respect the laws of their own country.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Doc. We do have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Just need Mr. Maxfield to explain Article 4.2, no, Section 4.2, Article 7.
Of our Constitution, Cayman Islands Constitution?
It's the International Covenant on Civil Rights.
International Covenant on Civil Rights.
Yes.
I'm just writing this down, so
4.2, Article 7.
4.2, Article 7, 4.2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we will check that out, and
Yes,
during the course of the show.
we'll look at that and check it out, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, share some of the WhatsApp messages. This one says, I think government and employers would have more weight to mandate vaccines if there was a vaccine that eliminated people from getting COVID-19. However, since there are still breakthrough cases with fully vaccinated people getting and spreading, I'm not sure that a compulsory vaccination couldn't be challenged, that the compulsory. And I when I get an opportunity to share more of this article with you, this writer in one of the Jamaican newspapers, talks about the options that we have, including educating people, having discussions, with them, and all of those things as well. I think I had another WhatsApp message that I wanted to share with you all as well. It says, Prime Minister Motley has emerged as the most erudite Caribbean leader in the last 30 years.
That's right.
She will lead the region to greater heights. Profound leader, erudite, prolific, undaunted, rooted, intellectual, with a great understanding of history and where she fits in. Person says, I am right with you. Proudly of the clan rejecting the colonial mantle since I was 10 years old, coming into understanding of what it was, what it is, and its reconfiguration in modern times, dressed up now as neo-colonialism. It is still demeaning, classist, polluted, criminal in outcome. Person says, I was born in Ghana around the time of Nkrumah. That would be Kwame Nkrumah, who challenged the British commencing the demand for self-determination. My missionary parents were integrated enough to buy in and support the relegation of the colonial model to the rubbish bin where it belongs. I want to thank that writer, so articulate in their expression of that as well. We need more people to think like that writer as well. Anything else in the meantime? This person says, person says, I'm not sure if this is a coincidence, but today's Barbados' Prime Minister's birthday as well. That's what
Happy birthday, Miss Mia Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Paul, you say we have a caller? Let's take the commercial break since we're at 9:14. We're going to ask that caller, hang right in there. Quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your call, so please stay tuned.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamp Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. And I want to thank that caller for that information about Prime Minister Mia Mottley, born the 1st of October, 1965. Thank them very much for that. Caller, as we promised, we're going to you now. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, everyone. I listen to the record every morning, and
Thank you.
It's amazing that we can just sit here and do not understand anything about laws and countries. And I have to say, if you decide, or your parents or your grandparents or your child decide to file for you in any country, you have to do a test. Now, if that test come back positive, you cannot fly. You cannot go anywhere. And again,
You're talking about for the vaccine?
yes,
Okay.
that people, all of what they're saying, listen to the media. The media. I remember growing up as a child, I see phone that looked like we usually call it phone box. It was so big. So technology was increased. So we couldn't listen to a lot of stuff that goes on in the media, what the Facebook and what people are saying. We have to go to school as a child, and our parents could not take us to school for the first day and register us without a vaccination card. They will not accept you. Every country have laws, and either you abide by it or I'm not going to criticize. Again, you go back in the days of Noah, Joseph, and them when the plague was unhurt. It might be not the same thing going on now, but they say you have to make a sign over your door in order for you to protect your firstborn. So everyone is trying to protect everyone in their own country. So it's only fair enough that people should just not sit there and listen to all kind of stories. I did my full vaccination. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm fine. Actually, the first day I took mine, I felt like I would take the house and turn it upside down. I have never felt so strong in my entire life. My second dose was fine. Yes, I just felt sleepy. I understand that everyone's different. Everybody's body is different. You act to whatever is going on in your body, but I don't think they should sit there and ask the government not to protect their own people. It is wrong, and I'm not saying that if you don't want to take it, you should go home. It's not. I don't have the right to say that, but I think that if a country wants to protect their own people, they should, and people should stop listening to others. My sister would tell me that I should use a coin and put it where they give me the vaccine and say if it sticks. All these rubbish, everybody listening to all kind of rubbish. We didn't have technology when we were growing up, so we couldn't know all of this. Vaccination was given to us as a child. We still have that mark. Some of us have the mark over on our hand, left or right hand. And we couldn't question anyone. My parents couldn't question anyone because you had to take the vaccine at the time when you were born, and it's just not one. Your vaccination card has to be full with all of what they require. We couldn't listen. We never have technology to listen to what people say it wasn't good. We didn't know what we were getting. Our parents didn't know what we were getting. I didn't know what I was giving my kids because technology didn't increase. No, there's all kind of thing going on right now, and people they need to understand, read, and understand what's going on in the world and stop listening to others. And that's my view on it.
Okay.
You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. And so many people share the same sentiment that caller shares.
And people should. It's so awful now for me to have to be on the radio with you or it. And some people have traveled to many countries in the world have traveled for many years, and they should know that every country has the right to say on what condition you are going to enter their country. Every country has that right. Every country reserves that right to itself to say who's going to enter their country. And to believe that you can just walk into the Cayman Islands anyhow you want to, and the government does not have any right to challenge you when you come into the borders to say this is what we expect of you to have to show us that we require the condition that we require, and you don't have it to enter. That to me is profound madness, and I can't fathom that people would go out and would preach that in Cayman Islands, that people who are not Caymanians and that they would preach that against the Constitution, which is our highest law in the land, that they would try to say that the Constitution is a piece of paper that you can just throw in the trash and not abide by it, is rather operation. And that person really I have some problems with that kind of person.
Okay, we have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OT.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. And you, Dr. Frank? How you doing? I'm sorry, Dr. Steve.
Good morning.
I have to agree with you 100%, sir, what you just said. And also that lady that's called last.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fact, we didn't know what they were putting in our bodies back then. We all had to take vaccination. You had to when you went to sea. OC had to when he went to sea. We didn't dare ask them or fight against any government of the day about what was in that vaccine. They wanted to know what was in the vaccine, and they weren't taking no vaccine. I know that I had to, or otherwise I couldn't enter anybody else's country. But you know what happened today, guys? Everybody wants a stage on the world. They want to place on stage because of the social media now and the freedom to speak. Everybody wants that position, that position stage. They want a stage on the world stage. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're all speaking up freely. And another thing, human rights. They always hide behind human rights. I thought human rights was about saving lives. How can human rights support these people to state that they're not taking the vaccine? That's all I have to say, gentlemen. You all have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. For that. I want to thank that caller. And he speaks about social media and all of those things. And those persons have a right to voice their opinions.
Yes, right. Yes.
But what they shouldn't do, they shouldn't peddle false information. They should be able to discern, what is true and what isn't true. And you do that not necessarily by relying on one source, but looking at other sources as well, credible sources, as well. It is amazing, it shouldn't be amazing really, how many people are duped by false, salacious information that is put out there, and that is totally unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate, and that people can advocate to people that they should not listen and they should not abide by their own by the country's constitutional laws, and the laws that are passed pursuant to the people's constitution. And if they actually want to do that, then they should go and take judicial review to see whether or not the Constitution is whether or not the law is ultra-virus or intra-virus of the Constitution, instead of going out in the streets and telling people, you don't have to abide by it, and that you can just walk into the country any way you want. But I would just like to know, if it wasn't COVID and it was tuberculosis, and you were coming into the country and everybody knew that you were infected with tuberculosis, would you expect to walk into the country and the government and the people at the border could say, okay, well, you're welcome to come in and not challenge you? It's incredible. It's incredible, the thinking.
We have 2 callers. We have 5 minutes. Let's before we go to our next break, let's see if we can take both calls. If not, we will take one, take the break, and take the next. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Dr. Steve. Good morning, OC. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good
Fine.
morning.
How are you?
Good. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than say thank you to those last 2 callers and to you, Dr. Steve, for your comments just a few seconds ago. They were spot on, in my opinion. We have to protect our people, regardless whether our people take the vaccine or not. Those that are coming in that are unvaccinated have more chance of bringing it here than the vaccinated people. So why shouldn't we say that those coming into our shores need to be vaccinated? That's only a foolish person, in my opinion, that would say something like that.
Especially in a pandemic. This is not ordinary where you having something like a transmissible a transmissible disease that you were not aware of or something, and you discovered
it's not deadly.
And not deadly. This is a deadly disease that's affecting the whole world.
And not only that, you're basically saying then that the Constitution is no good.
Exactly. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, because it's in there, plain to see. So, I mean, when you're going to try to defend other people other than your own, something is wrong.
Definitely. Yeah.
Anyway, you all have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC and Dr. Steve.
Good morning,
Hey, morning, Billy. How are you?
Good morning, Billy.
Good morning. It looks like I only have 2 minutes, so I'll get straight to it. Just to add to this debate and give a little bit of another perspective.
Okay.
You see, in the EU, for example, they've got they've got freedom of movement within the European Union, but they also have what is called the right of establishment. The right of establishment is that you can come from Romania and you go to the UK and establish yourself there, work without a work permit, and have virtually all the rights of a British person except the right to vote. Okay? But there is no similar freedom of movement globally in a planet, or as a similar right of establishment on the planet. You know, just because a Romanian can go from Romania to the UK and work without a work permit, it doesn't mean, without any conditions, it doesn't mean that you can come from, from Uganda, from St. Kitts and Nevis and come to the Cayman. You don't have that freedom of movement globally to enter any country you want, regardless of the laws of that particular country. It doesn't exist. Then in the U.S., for example, the U.S. is the bastion of freedom. You know?
That's right.
Exactly. And yet in the U.S., there are rules that your child can't go into a certain school without a vaccination. Once a decision has been made, even there they tried to challenge them. They had very limited success because they said once the government has made a reasonable decision and it is trying to protect the rights and freedoms of others, okay, it can do that. Yes, the government cannot make rules, in my view, on the basis of those who are vaccinated and vaccinated if those rules are alleging that a vaccinated person can't transmit it. We know that there are certain things you don't get. But so long as they don't make rules which discriminate on the basis that is not
that's right.
by science. Yes. Yeah, exactly. You know, it has to be related to that. Let me tell you what, even internally in Cayman, let us imagine there was a disease which broke out in Northside. Government can say you can't travel from Northside to West Bay if you don't have a vaccination. Why? Because they are controlling the disease. So it all depends on whether, when they make the law, of course they have to be reasonable. If you come there and you say, okay, I can't take this vaccine because I've got a medical report which says it has an ingredient which would hurt me, then they have to allow you, the government has to allow you for certain reasonable exceptions within the law. But you can't say they can't make the law at all. I thought I should just add that to the debate.
Thank you.
Mr. Billy, before you go, Billy. Mr. Billy, before you go.
Yes, please.
Try to help me with this case. I remember this case when I was at law school in Canada. I think it's called Jehovah's Witnesses case, where it says that you do not have the right over your own body I think it was a case where Jehovah's Witnesses refused to take blood transfusion to save the person's life. Did you remember? You heard that case? It's a constitutional case in Cayman and Canada.
Yes, I remember that, and you know, Jehovah's Witnesses, even in Africa, I can tell you where I come from. They actually say that you had to sing the national anthem, and the child, actually from the country I come from, a child said, well, they couldn't sing the national anthem because they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and that was a violation of their freedom of conscience.
That's
and
right.
The court said, the court refused. They said, no, this is not a religious observance. If they make you go to a religious observance for Catholics, yes, they are interfering with that. But if they tell you you should sing the national anthem as part of state loyalty, you can't say that this is a violation of my rights. So all these people who are talking about this, they just have to understand that there is a history regarding this.
That's right.
The government is doing things which we may not all agree, but courts don't strike out a matter and say that it's illegal if there are two views. If there are 2 or 3 views and the government takes one reasonable view, they will not strike it down. That's not the way judicial review or enforcement of human rights works, as you know very well, you know.
Yes.
But it's good that this debate is continuing and we are talking about it and so forth. But people just have to understand that you can't tell a government which has got a duty. You know, being in government is something where you are responsible for the lives and freedoms
exactly.
of people out there.
That's right.
You can't just say, well, but somebody said this is harmful and so forth, and then, but don't take it. The court will always say, yes, maybe it doesn't work with particular individuals, but the mere fact that it doesn't work with particular individuals does not make it illegal if it works for most people, you know. So, anyway.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Thanks, Billy. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah, I was looking for medical lab services in Cayman. Go straight to MedLab. Blood test, X-ray, and mammogram. All of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service. A full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable. MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brandsource Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brandsource Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know you must ensure all utensils are washed with detergent and rinsed with hot water if they make contact with flood water? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Everywhere.
Can you hear me now? Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yes, right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have 2 WhatsApp messages, 2 calls, and another WhatsApp message there where this person who called in previously said they forgot to tell us that they're fully vaccinated. They haven't grown a third hand. They haven't grown a third hand, a second head, or a tail. Their gender hasn't changed, and they're not magnetic as well. So those are some of the false claims that have been being made about vaccine. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
How are you doing?
Okay. Dr. McFeel is just stepping back in. He had stepped out for a minute, but he's coming. He's back in now.
No problem. I would like to share this with you.
Sure.
People are calling an uproar about giving permit holders or people coming into the country and making sure they're vaccinated or mandating that they are vaccinated. And they see a problem with the invasion of their person space or their privacy. Right?
Okay.
But question to you. Doesn't every work permit holder on this island right now, when they have a permit being granted to them in their paperwork, don't they have to give up some form of medical history?
There's an actual form,
yes.
a pro forma that has to be completed by a medical doctor.
Right. So then you turn that over to your employer, who then turns in the permit. Then immigration sees that process, your blood work, your medical history, not your history, but your medical well-being at that time.
Yeah, I think at one time there was even chest X-rays.
Chest X-rays and blood work now.
With blood work, all that stuff. Isn't that more private than anything else?
That's true.
Isn't that more private information than anything else? So they have no problem giving that sort of information out to immigration or your employer, who has to have it, to give it to immigration in order to turn in your work permit. Right? Isn't that more private than this, or more invasive than this vaccination?
Yeah, and to top that off now, we have data protection legislation that tells people when you collect that information, how you're supposed to handle it and protect it.
Yes. Exactly. But for years, we didn't have that. And you go there and you want to work permit, you want to work here. These are one of the things that you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's complaining about doing that. Why are they complaining about if you have to have a vaccination or not? At the end of the day, if the Cayman Islands government and the people of the Cayman Islands see well fit that you have to have a vaccination to be able to get your work permit here, to be able to work on the island, then why not? Right?
And to protect other people who are already on the island. Protect other people here who are here on the island already.
Exactly.
And to protect you two, and to protect you two who's coming in the island too.
Exactly. And there are Caymanians that don't want to get the vaccination, right? Yes. But if you read the news and you see what's coming forth, it's coming forth that you won't be able to get on a plane. You won't be able to go anywhere without it,
Oh, yes.
At some point. So Caymanians may say, okay, I don't want it, but I bet if you want to go to Miami and shop like you normally do, you'll have to get it.
Well, otherwise they will just turn you back, and they won't let you land.
Yeah, otherwise you stay here.
And will they go and fight the United States? They will not do that.
Do it. But for us to say that we're trying to protect our borders, which we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah, because some people recognize us as nobodies, that we're too small, and that we're inferior, and that we shouldn't have the right to demand anything, and that our constitution is a piece of paper that nothing.
If that is one of the mandates for you to be able to work on this island, then so be it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Doc, I'm going to just mention this before I go to the next caller and see if this rings a bell. One of my really what should I say? Loyal listeners and always sharing information with me, and we talk on the phone sometimes. And they say this Regina versus Blah Jehovah Witness case.
Yes.
Looked like it was a case in sometime in 1975. Is that does that sound like it?
That would have been something like that. Yeah.
I'm going to check it out later on, but I want to thank that call writer for that. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC and Dr. McFeel.
Good morning. Good morning.
I had no intention of getting into the political arena so early because, both of you know I subscribe.
Well, I don't think you left. Really?
Once you're there, you're there. That's it. That's like being one in the in the mafia. There's no out.
Yeah, but both of you know that I subscribe to the convention that you leave a new government and let them find their way.
True.
Yes, I know that. I know you're that kind of politician.
Right. Anyway, I want to weigh in on these two laws, because I print them off still and look at them. I want to support Dr. Maxfield and his view on this entire thing, and the one that called in there, the lawyer, what his name is?
Billy Samamba.
Billy. Now, Section 5 of the Constitution talks about existing laws, and they should be read as if they were with all adaptations and whatnot, as if they were in effect when they came into effect to come in compliance with the Constitution, which were bringing in some new stuff. So they should be read in conjunction with the Constitution, in essence. And then it says that the legislature can change those existing laws to bring into compliance those laws with the Constitution. And then there are caveats within the Bill of Rights which says things like you can't discriminate and you got to be proportionate under discrimination and that kind of stuff whenever you do it. But it also makes exceptions for discrimination. And that discrimination then says that the exceptions are that, in essence, that you can discriminate against anyone that is not Caymanian.
That's right.
For entry into your country, into this country. So I don't understand why is there a uproar about this. As a matter of fact, I saw a forwarded opinion from the former premier saying that it may be encroaching on the Bill of Rights and, something like that. Now, if that's the case, what does he think we were doing then, and I was part of that, when we shut down this country and made all those provisions at the beginning? We didn't know what was going on, so we had to do something. And I would venture to say that, I don't know, maybe that was under the same thing. Opinions, legal opinions are legal opinions. From one to the other, there are two different opinions. You put 10 lawyers in a room, and 10 lawyers are going to give you 10 different opinions.
Oh yes.
That's how it works. So I don't understand. The only problem I'm having with what this government is doing with these two laws, the amendment of these two laws, is that they're too soft. Things like they're giving people 1 month after they come in to get their vaccination. Well, if you don't have it, access to it in the country you're coming from, and you test negative, you remember they got to be negative when they come. You're going to get that first jab at the airport. We're setting up a table and we're jabbing you right there. Unless, of course, like you say, that there is some underlying problem that you can't do it. And,
you have a medical certificate that exempts you.
That's correct. Well, and secondly, when you are going to renew your work permit, they're saying subsequent to the certificate being issued, you have to prove it. No, prior to the certificate being issued, when you do your physical, you need to get the job or have your letter, your certificate saying that you can't have it. Those are the things that, if we're going to enforce it, we're going to enforce it. America enforced their border control. As a matter of fact, they just sent back, hundreds,
thousands
of Haitians. England, the ordinary people in Brexit said we are going to control and take our country back. And so I say all that to say that there are times when you have to control your border if you are in the protection of your people and preservation of your country and its people, then you're going to have to make some tough decisions on anyone who enters. America is going to do it. But nobody's saying anything about that. But in November, the anti-vaxxers, they will be required to do that. Then our gateway into the rest of the world is America. What are we going to do then?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone has a right not to take the vaccination. And I respect that right. But don't complain about anything when something happened now. We have to be fair now. I took mine, and that segues nicely into what another aspect of
okay. Can I ask you to be real fast because I'm going past my commercial break. Unless you want to hold on, we take the commercial break and come back to you, sir.
Go ahead.
Do that, okay, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners. Ask about our ongoing discounts. Puritan Cleaners now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 3 convenient locations to serve you. Savannah, Countryside, Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive through, rain or shine. Free pickup and delivery. Call Puritan Cleaners at 949-7104. You feel good when you look good.
I'm a Caymanian. I'm a father.
I'm a child. I'm a friend. I do not support COVID-19 mandated vaccines.
This Saturday, the 2nd of October, join us outside the Governor's House on the West Bay Road sidewalk to stand together in support of the freedom of choice. This means we respect everyone's individual rights to make the medical decisions they want to make. All are welcome from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is for you. This is for our future. This is for the Cayman Islands.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're in the last leg of the show, about 12 minutes left. This morning, we still have a caller on hold. Caller, back over to you.
Yeah, see, in saying all that about putting these laws in place, we must be cognizant of the need for imported labor. So we need to be proportionate in our approach to that. But we're asking our people to do so. There's no need not to ask others to come in here to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Uganda under the CPA in 2019, September 2019, 2 years now. It took me 6 weeks to be fully vaccinated to go to Uganda. No, that I had to get all those vaccinations here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't say that this vaccination is a panacea. I can't say that. But certainly it started with them putting nano chips in it, and it wasn't approved by FDA. Both of those things have been debunked. So I don't understand why people are reluctant to do it. But let me see. I was vaccinated in January, February, between those 2 months. I just spent 14 days in quarantine because I had, me and my entire family, because I had come in contact with someone who had tested positive. I can't say it was the vaccine that why I came out on the 14th, 17th day or something like that negative. I can't say that. But what I can say is that the vaccine seems to be not killing as many people as the COVID is killing. I mean, that is proven. But I find it a little on concerning that so many people are up in arms against it. And I didn't know that government had mandated vaccination. I know they're mandating it for visitors coming in.
Yes, that's where it is mandated for, but we haven't mandated for any other people.
That's correct. So I don't understand that. But be that as it may, everybody has a right to voice their position, just like I do. But I must tell you, and I think I'm not looking to overly criticize the government, but my 14 days in quarantine has been the most harrowing experience of my life, wherein it is not properly coordinated. A classic example. The left hand does not know what the right hand is doing, and I appreciate that may have come about because of this sudden outbreak, and I hope they have learned some lessons from it. A classic example, my pet was sick on the Tuesday gone a week. They didn't respond to me until the following Monday, when I had to call the deputy governor. I shouldn't have to do that. I should not have to do that. Things like no one visited me at my house. There are so many other experiences. They need to get this done. If this is what they're saying they're going to protect people with, then we need to ensure that it is done in a proper manner, more efficient, more effective. Now, I believe that the time is nigh for us, Doc and OC, for us to start thinking about living with this disease. Everybody has a personal responsibility to take care of themselves. And in this case, that personal responsibility means you've got to wear masks when you're going out in public. You got to keep social distancing. You got to wash your hands frequently and whatnot. We need to start to live with this. Every other country is starting to live with it. And people have to take on personal responsibilities. If you see somebody sneezing during flu season, do you go near them? No, you don't. That's a personal responsibility to avoid being sick. And we need to start thinking about it. I don't know when, but the government needs to put its head together and decide how far can we take away the personal responsibilities that people have. So we need to start thinking about that. We need to ask people, how much further can we get with vaccinations? They do not prevent it from happening. It just stops the systems, the medical system, from being overwhelmed. You don't get that sick that you need to go to the hospital. You're not in an intensive care because there are other things that are happening. You will have major motor vehicle accidents or tragic accidents, whether motor vehicle or otherwise. You'll have people personal chronic diseases that needs to be treated with, heart and the liver and the this and whatnot. All those, if we do the vaccine, then the system will be available for all those people. And that is what I believe my plea is to the people of this country. And I'm not forcing people to get it. I'm just saying it's your personal choice. But look at how many people are getting sick after they have the vaccine.
So true.
And there are those who promote other vaccines because they have a vested interest in it, other than the one we are doing.
Yeah. So
okay. We're gonna ask you to leave us there, though.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Take care. Yeah. Okay, Doc, I'm going to bring you in a second. I just want to, this part of this article, standards-based approach that the writer suggests, and person says, it is therefore, if therefore we are to balance the two issues mentioned earlier, public health versus bodily integrity, then the standards-based approach advocated by the International Labour Organization remain a worthy and viable option. At the heart of this is the principles of dialogue and consultation, and what it would mean were there to be a joint collaboration by management and workers/unions in carrying out a risk assessment of their respective workplaces to determine the possibility of exposure risk to the COVID-19 virus. How much it would do for the confidence of workers and the cementing of trust if rather than right or might approach, employers and workers work towards developing a more coherent COVID-19 policy on safety and health and the working environment. Outside of the pandemic itself, the science and the evidence must lead us to the conclusion that COVID cases at the workplace are further contributing to the deterioration of work performance, absenteeism, and a threat to the well-being of the workforce. The truth is, the discipline of employers and employees across the various sectors and industries in observing the health protocols and guidelines provides strong anecdotal evidence to suggest no causal link between employee COVID-19 cases and a threat to business viability. I'm going to end there to give you an opportunity, Doc, for some closing comments as well.
Well, it's been so controversial this morning on your show. We started with talking about Miss Mia, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and we ended up with controversy about the vaccine, about whether it's mandatory. We're not advocating that it's being mandatory. We're just discussing whether or not the government has the right to make it mandatory. Mm-hmm. It's not right, OC?
Yep, yes, exactly, yes.
And
yes.
Then on what conditions should it be?
Right. Yep.
Should it be mandatory?
Yeah. We're not expressing our personal views. We're not injecting that into the conversation.
Into the conversation. Yes. We're not expressing that in the conversation at all. I would just like to say personally that I come from a long lineage of education warriors fighting for the balance and experience to grow, to prosper, and to enhance this environment which I share. I am not fighting against our country. My faith and my love for my country is unshakable. And the only thing that I worry about is the time is short here in this land. I have no time to waste on persons who operate in the dark behind an anonymous made media curtain. So that's what I'd just like to say. It's been a pleasure with you, OC. You were so lucid. And I think this is the only show in Cayman where people are able to speak candidly how they feel. You do not curtail anyone from speaking their minds on the radio, and I like that.
Even though some people think otherwise, that I muzzle some people.
But no, you don't. You don't. Yeah. I know that people have to speak and be aware of the time that you have. The show is very short.
Yes.
And you can't carry on long conversations with people because you have to. The show has to be paid for.
And we try to accommodate as many callers
as you can.
Yeah.
It's always good to be with you. I hope that you call me back again.
Oh yeah,
at some time whenever you have the time. And I would say, have a great weekend to all your listeners.
Okay, thank you. This one I want to share real quick. This person says that. Good morning to us. They wish they could call in, but they're unable to do so at this point in time. And they're saying that they called into Radio Cayman's show yesterday to voice their opinion by way of a statement in rebuttal to what was being said about the vaccine. The person says, I stated that I feel the government should mandate anyone entering our borders or anyone who's working here and want to remain here, working here, should have to take the vaccine. I also stated I feel the government has all right to protect the country and its people by choosing to do this. I said everyone has a choice, so they have a right to choose. Person then says, I received a call last night attacking me for saying this. Person says, I would like the public to know this morning that I am a born generational Caymanian, a registered voter, and I exercised my democratic right by going out and voting. So I feel I have a right to speak out in my country, and you are perfectly right for that. And people should not try to victimize you because of your opinion, even if that opinion that you have does not necessarily align with their opinion. Everyone has the right to be heard, and we can agree to disagree, but at the same time, we don't have to be disagreeable about it, and no one should personally attack you because of that. And I'm going to end with this, because this is important as well, and we have heard so many people talk about mental health as well. That article in the Jamaica Observer that I was sharing with you earlier,
yes,
at the end of the article it says, but in the midst of this raging pandemic, we must also pay equal attention to the mental elements which have intensified certain psychological risks and require compassion and understanding in helping to develop a preventative safety and health culture that includes information, consultation, and training. Not only will we manage the risks to our health better through this approach, but by way of increased cooperation and trust building, more workers would be prepared to be vaccinated, and the foundation would have been laid for the long-term improvements in labor management relations as well. And I leave you with that. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to thank Dr. Macfield for being here with me this morning as well. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. John Sterling, Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands. And a big shout out and congratulations to the nation of Barbados.
And again, happy birthday to Prime Minister Mia Mottley.
Yep.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brandsource Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Isolated thunder showers along with moderate easterly winds and slight seas will continue across the Cayman area as an upper-level trough lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Our forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and thunder, temperatures rising to the upper 80s. For decades, the crimes of a notorious serial killer have haunted the Paris crime squad, but now a former military police officer is said to have confessed to being the murderer, known as the pockmarked man before his death. Named locally as Francois Verove, his DNA has matched to several crime scenes linked